We are live.
Yay! Welcome to Hump Day. Sorry about Monday and yesterday, but I am Old New Dude. He is,
Richard York, Asher's Trueborn son.
and just to throw it out there, I am up to 188 subscribers. So
Wow.
I know, big time.
What am I at? Like a dozen?
You probably don't let it be
I probably need
known
to put out
enough.
a new video. I probably
Yeah,
need to put out a new video now and again.
there you go. But Bran won Storm of Swords. Um, so without any further ado, take it away, Richard.
Storm 9, Brand 1. I want to fly. Please take me to the crow. The ridge slanted sharply from the earth, a long fold of stone and soil shaped like a claw. Trees clung to its lower slopes, pines and hawthorn and ash. But higher up, the ground was bare, the ridgeline stark against the cloudy sky. He could feel the high stone calling him. Up he went, loping easy at first, then faster and higher, his strong legs eating up the incline. Birds burst from the branches overhead as he raced by, clawing and flapping their way into the sky. He could hear the wind sighing up amongst the leaves, the squirrels chittering to one another, even the sound a pine cone made as it tumbled to the forest floor. The smells were a song around him, a song that filled the good green world. Gravel flew from beneath his paws as he gained the last few feet to stand upon the crest. The sun hung above the tall pines, huge and red, and below him the trees and hills went on and on as far as he could see or smell. A kite was circling far above, dark against the pink sky.
Hey,
Okay.
before you go any further,
Yeah.
all
Yeah, we're
the
about to get to something big, so yeah.
you mean to wait?
No, no, no.
Okay, all the noises that he's talking about, calling it a song. Would that be God speak? It's just that Bran does not know fully how to understand what God speak is, but Summer does.
It could be. Speaking of dogs there. We're even from the redacted outside Tickle Village. Well, that shirt counts as one. Both shirts are great. I don't know if she's referring to your shirt or this shirt versus my usual shirt, but I felt like this was kind of a Brantham leaping, time traveling Bran Preston kind of chapter.
Ah, I stole this from my son, so thank you, Chris Crow.
Mandalorian, yeah, it is a good shirt. All right, where were we? Oh yes. So anyway, yeah, I think that's possible. Um, Prince, we just did. I said that already, did I?
No, no,
Did
no.
I? No, I didn't. Prince, that man sound came into his head suddenly, yet he could feel the rightness of it. Prince of the Green, Prince of the Wolf's Wood. He was strong and swift and fierce, and all that lived in the good green world went in fear of him. So my question is, does George do this with John or Arya, or does he only show Bran implanting thoughts in heads? And if it's only Bran, then he could be hinting at Brantham leaping, time traveling Bran.
Hmm.
Lady Thistles laughing at Brantham leaping. But anyway, yeah, it feels like this could be a clue, right? The fact that Bran is able to imprint this thought into Summer.
Mhm.
I don't know if we see that happening with the other wolves. It'd be interesting to pay attention to, but I don't think we do. I think it might be unique, this concept of one of them being able to actually implant a sound, a word into somebody else's mind.
Okay,
Anyway, just a thought.
we'll keep an eye out for it.
Yep. Far below, at the base of the woods, something moved again amongst the trees. A flash of gray, quick glimpsed and gone again, but it was enough to make his ears prick up. Down there beside a swift green brook, another form slipped by, running. Wolves, he knew, his little cousins, chasing down some prey. Now the prince could see more of them, shadows on fleet gray paws, a pack. He had a pack as well once. 5 they had been, and a sixth who stood aside. Somewhere down inside him were the sounds the men had given them to tell one from the other. But it was not by their sounds he knew them. He remembered their scents, his brothers and his sisters. They all had smelled alike, smelled a pack, but each was different too. His angry brother with the hot green eyes was near, the prince felt, though he had not seen him for many hunts. Yet with every sun that set, he grew more distant, and he had been the last. The others were far scattered, like leaves blown by the wild wind. Sometimes he could sense them, though, as if they were still with him, only hidden from his sight by a boulder or a stand of trees. He could not smell them, nor hear their howls by night, yet he felt their presence at his back, all but the sister they had lost. His tail drooped when he remembered her. Four now, not five. Four and one more, the white who has no voice. Ghost is north of the wall, and so it's somewhat ambiguous whether Summer can sense him, since he kind of refers to Summer, I mean, to Ghost as being, this sixth one that's not part of the five, and
Mhm.
now they're down to four. So um, it's not entirely clear to me whether he's able to sense Ghost or not.
You would think that if he wasn't able to sense ghosts, that he would have said it.
Yeah,
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 the white one beyond my gaze or
yeah, maybe.
something.
On the other hand,
And
George has a habit of leaving things out when he doesn't want to reveal something yet.
yeah, this is true.
These woods belong to them, the snowy slopes and stony hills, the great green pines and the golden leaf oaks, the rushing streams and blue lakes fringed with fingers of white frost. But his sister had left the wilds to walk in the halls of Man Rock where other hunters ruled. And once within those halls, it was hard to find the path back out. The Wolf Prince remembered. So, is that about Lady dying, or is that about Nymeria?
Yeah, I don't know. But
It's
his
it's
sister had left the wilds to walk in the halls of Man Rock where others hunters
other hunters
ruled,
ruled, and
and
once within
once
those
within
halls, it
the
was hard to
hall,
find.
find it back.
The Wolf Prince remembered.
Um,
It sounds like it's Nymeria, I guess.
is he talking about Sansa?
I don't know. I don't. I'm
I
not
mean,
sure what this means.
well, we've both said that the theory of possibly, um,
Lady Thistle says that 100% it's about lady living a second life in Sansa.
okay,
Okay,
all right,
I like that.
I like that too.
The wind shifted suddenly. Deer and fear and blood. The scent of prey woke the hunger in him. The prince sniffed the air again, turning, and then he was off, bounding along the ridgetop with jaws half parted. The far side of the ridge was steeper than the one he'd come up, but he flew surefoot over stones and roots and rotting leaves, down the slope and through the trees, long strides eating up the ground. The scent pulled him onward ever faster. That line lives rent free in my head. The deer was down and dying when he reached her, ringed by 8 of his small gray cousins. The heads of the pack had begun to feed, the male first and then his female, taking turns tearing flesh from the red underbelly of their prey. The others waited patiently, all but the tail, who paced in a wary circle a few strides from the rest, his own tail tucked low. He would eat the last of all, whatever his brothers left him. The prince was downwind, so they did not sense him until he leapt up upon a fallen log 6 strides from where they fed. The tail saw him first, gave a piteous whine, and slunk away. His pack brothers turned at the sound and bared their teeth, snarling, all but the head male and female. The direwolf answered the snarls with a low warning growl and showed them his own teeth. He was bigger than his cousins, twice the size of the scrawny tail, half again as large as the 2 packheads. He leapt down into their midst, and 3 of them broke, melting away into the brush. Another came at him, teeth snapping. He made the attack head on, caught the wolf's leg in his jaws when they met, and flung him aside, yelping and limping. And then there was only the head wolf to face, the great gray male with his bloody muzzle fresh from the prey's soft belly. There was white on his muzzle as well, to mark him as an old wolf, but when his mouth opened, red slaver ran from his teeth. Oh, that's interesting. He's got a red mouth and a white face. He's kind of weirwood symbols in there.
Yeah,
He has no fear, the prince thought, no more than me. It would be a good fight. They went for each other. Long they fought, rolling together over roots and stones and fallen leaves and the scattered entrails of the prey, tearing at each other with tooth and claw, breaking apart, circling each round the other, and bolting in to fight again. The prince was larger and much the stronger, but his cousin had a pack. The female prowled around them closely, snuffling and snarling, and would interpose herself whenever her mate broke off bloodied. From time to time, the other wolves would dart in as well to snap at a leg or ear when the prince was turned the other way. One angered him so much that he whirled in a black fury and tore out the attacker's throat. After that, the others kept their distance. And as the last red light was filtering through green boughs and golden, the old wolf lay down weary in the dirt and rolled over to expose his throat and belly. It was submission. The prince sniffed at him and licked the blood from fur and torn flesh. When the old wolf gave a soft whimper, the direwolf turned away. He was very hungry now, and the prey was his. Hodor! The sudden sound made him stop and snarl. The wolves regarded him with green and yellow eyes, bright with the last light of day. None of them had heard it. It was a queer wind that blew only in his ears. He buried his jaws in the deer's belly and tore off a mouthful of flesh. Hodor, Hodor. No, he thought. No, I won't. It was a boy's thought, not a direwolf's. The woods were darkening all around about him, until only the shadows of the trees remained, and the glow of his cousin's eyes. And through those, and behind those eyes, he saw a big man's grinning face and a stone vault whose walls were spotted with niter. The rich warm taste of blood faded on his tongue. No, don't. I want to eat. I want. Hodor, 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 Hodor chanted as he shook him softly by the shoulders, back and forth and back and forth. He was trying to be gentle. He always tried. But Hodor was 7 feet tall and stronger than he knew, and his huge hands rattled Bran's teeth together. No, he shouted angrily. Hodor, leave off. I'm here. Hodor stopped, looking abashed. Hodor. I said Hodor, not bark. The woods and wolves were gone. Bran was back again, down in the damp vault of some ancient watchtower that must have been abandoned thousands of years before. It wasn't much of a tower now. Even the tumbled stones were so overgrown with moss and ivy, you could hardly see them until you were right on top of them. Tumbledown Tower, Bran had named the place. It was Mira who found the way down into the vault, however. You were gone too long. Jojen Reed was 13, only 4 years older than Bran. Jojen wasn't much bigger either, no more than 2 inches or maybe 3, but he had a solemn way of talking that made him seem older and wiser than he really was. Interesting that it implies that he's not as wise as he thinks he is there. Older
Also,
and wiser than he really was.
well, everyone just assumes the height of Jojen Reed because of some kind of sickness or illness, or just he's not in very good health. But it might give even more credence to what Toodles says about the height of Hallen Reed being Shadrick.
Right.
I mean, Mirror is the outlier, being that she probably has some other good blood in there that makes her taller.
I don't think Mira's all that tall, is she?
Well, I mean, no, she's not. She's taller than Jojen for sure.
Oh, yeah,
But-
she's also older.
Yeah. But just
At Winter,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was just going to continue on, but you got
Go ahead.
more?
No,
At Winterfell, Old Nan had dubbed him Little Grandfather. Bran frowned at him. I wanted to eat. Mira will be back soon with supper. I'm sick of frogs. Mira was a frog eater from the neck, so Bran couldn't really blame her for catching so many frogs, he supposed. But even so, I wanted to eat the deer. For a moment he remembered the taste of it, the blood and the raw, rich meat, and his mouth watered. I won the fight for it. I won. Did you mark the trees? Bran flushed. Jojen was always telling him to do things when he opened his third eye and put on summer skin. To claw the bark of a tree, to catch a rabbit and bring it back in his jaws uneaten, to push some rocks in a line. Stupid things. I forgot, he said. You always forget. It was true. He meant to do the things that Jojen asked, but once he was a wolf, they never seemed important. There were always things to see and things to smell, a whole green world to hunt. And he could run. There was nothing better than running, unless it was running after prey. I was a prince, Jojen, he told the older boy. I was the prince of the woods. You are a prince, Jojen reminded him softly. You remember, don't you? Tell me who you are. You know.
I really think that is in this chapter, especially the emphasis that is put on Prince. The prince that was promised.
A prince, or a prince is going to be a king. Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Jojen was his friend and his teacher, but sometimes Bran just wanted to hit him. I want you to say the words. Tell me who you are. Kind of reminds me of Quaithe talking to Dany as well, right?
Yeah, or the waif playing the lion game with Arya.
Oh yeah. Bran, he said sullenly. Bran the Broken. Brandon Stark, the crippled boy. The Prince of Winterfell. Of Winterfell burned and tumbled, his people scattered and slain. The glass gardens were smashed, and hot water gushed from the cracked walls to steam beneath the sun. How can you be the prince of some place you might never see again? And who is Summer? Jojen prompted. My direwolf, he smiled. Prince of the Green. Bran the boy and Summer the wolf. You are two then? Two, he sighed. And one. He hated Jojen when he got stupid like this. At Winterfell, he wanted me to dream my wolf dream. And now that I know how, he's always calling me back. Remember that, Bran. Remember yourself, or the wolf will consume you. When you join, it is not enough to run and hunt and howl in Summer's skin. It is for me, Bran thought. He liked Summer's skin better than his own. What good is it to be a skin changer if you can't wear the skin you like? Will you
I
remember?
know it's been brought up when it comes to Rickon and nobody being there to teach him about not staying in Shaggy Dog.
Yep.
If Jojen is worried about that dream there, about Bran being too far gone,
Yep.
how long is Rickon staying in Shaggy Dog? And is there any chance of getting Rickon back?
It's possible that O'Shea realizes that he can't stay in Shaggy too long. It's possible. I could see George going either way with it, right?
Yeah.
Will you remember? And next time, mark the tree? Any tree. It doesn't matter, so long as you do it. I will. I'll remember. I could go back and do it now if you like. I won't forget this time. But I'll eat my deer first and fight with those little wolves some more. Don't start with this.
I'm sorry.
Jojen shook his head. No, best stay and eat. With your own mouth, a warg cannot live on what his beast consumes. How would you know? Bran thought resentfully. You've never been a warg. You don't know what it's like. Hodor jerked suddenly to his feet, almost hitting his head on the barrel-vaulted ceiling. Hodor! He shouted, rushing to the door. Mira pushed it open just before he reached it and stepped through into the refuge. Hodor, Hodor! The huge stable boy said, grinning.
Hey, they don't mention her making a noise. How did he know she was there?
Yeah, it's sort of implied that Hodor either had really good ears, or maybe he can sense people. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Mira Reed was 16, a woman grown, but she stood no higher than her brother.
Okay.
So she's actually really short.
Yeah.
She's fully grown, and she's as short as her brother, and that's one of the things that I think people forget, because I've heard people say, "Oh, Mira is her mother is a Sharadane, and she takes after her mother," and I'm like, she's super short. She's not taking after a tall and fair.
Yeah,
anyway.
I get the show confused in the head sometimes. I completely forgot how short she was.
Yeah, I thought she was really short, and she is. I obviously I have my own interpretation of who a Chardane is, but I also don't really like that for the simple reason that she's described as a Crannig woman, and tall and fair being a Crannig woman seems kind of like whitewashing to me. So I'm not a fan of that interpretation.
I think her having the brown hair was so Bran would have a hair color to say when he met them, and it hides the fact that he doesn't say what Jojen's is. People just assume that they're
You're right, Leslie. That is a reference, kind of a more obscure one, but yeah. See Triple Trigger, it's episode 4. All the Cranningmen were small, but she told Bran once when he asked why she wasn't taller. So see, they even discuss it. Brown-haired, here we go. Brown-haired, green-eyed, and flat as a boy, she walked with a supple grace that Bran could only watch and envy. Mira wore a long, sharp dagger, but her favorite way to fight was with a slender, three-pronged frog spear in one hand and a woven net in the other. Speaking of wolves fighting, anyway. Who's hungry? She asked, holding up her catch. 2 small silvery trout and 6 fat green frogs. I am, said Bran, but not for frogs. Back at Winterfell, before all the bad things had happened, the Walders used to say that eating frogs would turn your teeth green and make moss grow under your arms. He wondered if the Walders were dead. He hadn't seen their corpses at Winterfell, but there had been a lot of corpses, and they hadn't looked looked inside the buildings. Of course, we know that they're not dead yet. Anyway, one of
Yeah.
them will be by the end of the fifth book. We'll just have to feed you then. Will you help me clean the catch, Bran? He nodded. It was hard to sulk with Mira. She was much more cheerful than her brother, and always seemed to know how to make him smile. I do have to wonder if Hodor kind of likes her too, right? The way he was smiling. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I'd heard that theory too. Um, the the theory is that Hodor liked her first, and that
Yeah, okay. And as their minds meld, that he falls more in love with Mira. Yeah, that makes sense. Lizzie says, "Good. He might have grown up to be a Frey." Of course, that's the famous. This is the famous Frey we're discussing.
Yeah.
I always seem to know how to make him smile. Nothing ever scared her or made her angry. Well, except Jojen sometimes. Jojen Reek could scare most anyone. He dressed all in green, his eyes were murky as moss, and he had green dreams. What Jojen dreamed came true, except he dreamed me dead, and I'm not. Only he was, in a way. And of course, that's the Jojen description is only his green eyes without mentioning his the color of his hair.
Yeah.
Jojen sent Hodor out for wood and built them a small fire while Bran and Mira were cleaning the fish and frogs. They used Mira's helm for a cooking pot, chopping up the catch into little cubes and tossing in some water and some wild onions Hodor found to make a froggy stew. It wasn't as good as deer, but it wasn't bad either, Bran decided as he ate. Thank you, Mira, he said. My lady? You're most welcome, your grace. Come the morrow, Jojen announced. We'd best move on. Bran could see Mira tense. Have you had a green dream? No, he admitted. Why leave then? His sister demanded. Tumbledown Tower is a good place for us. No villages near. The woods are full of game. There's fish and frogs in the streams and lakes. And who's ever going to find us here? This is not the place we are meant to be. It is safe, though. It seems safe, I know, said Jojen. But for how long? There was a battle at Winterfell. We saw the dead. Battle means wars. If some army should take us unawares. It's Charles.
Hey, Charles.
It might be Rob's army, said Bran. Rob will come back from the south soon. I know he will. He'll come back with all his banners and chase the Iron Men away. Your maester said not of Rob when he lay dying, Jojen reminded him. Iron Men on the stony shore, he said, and east the bastard of Bolton. Moat Cailin and Deepwood Mott fallen, heir to Kerwin dead, and the castle of Torrance Square. War everywhere, he said, each man against his neighbor. Finger mistake, ignore the duh. Hello. We've plowed this field before, his sister said. You want to make for the wall and your three-eyed crow. That's well and good, but the wall is a very long way, and Bran has no legs but Hodor. If we were mounted... If we were eagles, we might fly, said Jojen sharply. We have no wings, no more than we have horses. There are horses to be had, said Mira. Even in the deep of the Wolfswood, there are foresters, crofters, hunters. Some will have horses. And if they do, should we steal them? Are we thieves? The last thing we need is men hunting us. We could buy them, she said. Trade for them. Look at us, Mira. A crippled boy with a direwolf, a simple-minded giant, and two crannogmen 1,000 links from the neck. We will be known, and word will spread. So long as Bran remains dead, he is safe. Alive, he becomes prey for those who want him dead for good and true. Jojen went to the fire to prod the embers with a stick. Somewhere to the north, the three-eyed crow awaits us. Bran has need of a teacher wiser than me. So, one of the problems with Mira's plan here is that you need a specially trained horse with a special saddle for Bran anyway. So it really wouldn't help. I love that line. We've plowed this field before. Yeah. It's a good line. How, Jojen? Sister asked. How? Afoot, he answered. A step at a time. One step and then another. One step and then another.
There you go.
The road from Greywater to Winterfell went on forever, and we were mounted then. You want us to travel a longer road on foot without even knowing where it ends? Beyond the wall, you say. I haven't been there, no more than you. But I know that beyond the wall is a big place, Jojen. Are there many three-eyed crows or only one? How do we find him? Perhaps he will find us. Before Mira could find a reply to that, they heard the sound, the distant howl of a wolf drifting through the night. Summer? Asked Jojen, listening. No, Bran knew the voice of his direwolf. Are you certain? Said the little grandfather. Certain. Summer had wandered far afield today. It would not be back till dawn. Maybe Jojen dreams green, but he can't tell a wolf from a direwolf. He wondered why they all listened to Jojen so much. He was not a prince like Bran, nor big and strong like Hodor, nor as good a hunter as Mira. It somehow was always Jojen telling them what to do. We should steal horses like Mira wants, Bran said, and ride to the Umbers up at Last Hearth, he thought for a moment. We could steal a boat and sail down the White Knife to White Harbor Town. That fat Lord Manderley rules there. He was friendly at the harvest feast. He wanted to build ships. Maybe he built some, and we could sail to River Run and bring Robb home with all his army. Then it wouldn't matter who knew I was alive. Robb wouldn't let anyone hurt us. Hodor, burped Hodor. Hodor, Hodor. He was the only one who liked Bran's plan, though. Mira just smiled at him, and Jojen frowned. They never listened to what he wanted, even though Bran was a Stark and a prince besides, and the Reeds of the Neck were Stark bannermen. If Tyrion really wanted to help, he would design a saddle for summer. Oh, that's a good idea. Are there many Thread Crows? Well, LOL, many have tried. or maybe it's just Bran trying over and over again. Have you ever seen the 1 minute time machine?
No.
It's a pretty funny YouTube video. It's about how time travel would create different worlds, essentially. Anyway,
Okay.
power resides where Mira believes it resides. Hodor, said Hodor, swaying. Hodor, 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 Hodor. Sometimes he liked to do this, just saying his name differently ways, over and over and over. Other times he would stay so quiet you forgot he was there. There was never any knowing with Hodor. Hodor, 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 he shouted. So it's probably foreshadowing for Hold the Door, I assume. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's not going to stop, Bran realized. Hodor, he said, why don't you go outside and trade with your sword? The stable boy had forgotten about his sword, but now he remembered. Hodor, he burped. He went for his blade. They had 3 tomb swords taken from the crypts of Winterfell where Bran and his brother Rickon had hidden from Theon Greyjoy's Iron Men. Bran claimed his uncle Brandon's sword, Mira the one she found upon the knees of his grandfather Lord Rickard. Hodor's blade was much older, a huge, heavy piece of iron, dull from centuries of neglect and well spotted with rust. He could swing it for hours at a time. There was a rotted tree near the tumbled stones that he had hacked half to pieces. So they had to find basically a great sword for him, right? They had to go back and find a large enough sword, and that's why it's not because they would just let him take the more rusted blade. It was because they wanted the appropriate size blade. That's my interpretation anyway.
Mine is they wanted one that he wouldn't hurt himself with as bad.
Maybe. I'm not sure if that was actually all that wise, considering the older rusty blades are more likely to give you tetanus. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know if tetanus lives in George's world.
No, it probably certainly isn't something they're aware of as they're choosing a sword for him.
Yeah.
Even when he went outside, they could hear him through the walls, bellowing "Hodor" as he cut and slashed at his tree. Thankfully, the wolf's wood was huge, and there was not like to be anyone else around to hear. Jojen, what did you mean about a teacher? Bran asked. You're my teacher. I know I never marked the tree, but I will the next time. My third eye is open like you wanted. So wide open that I fear you may fall through it and live all the rest of your days as a wolf of the woods. I won't, I promise. Of course, as we said, Bran won't, but Rickon might.
Yeah.
The boy promises. Will the wolf remember? You run with Summer, you hunt with him, kill with him, but you bend to his will more than him to yours. I just forget, Bran complained. I'm only 9. I'll be better when I'm older. Even Florian the Fool and Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight weren't great knights when they were 9. That is true, said Jojen, and a wise thing to say. The days were still growing longer, but they aren't. You are a summer child, I know. Tell me the words of House Stark. Winter is coming. Just saying it made Bran feel cold. Wide open, he he he. Jojen gave a solemn nod. I dreamed of a winged wolf bound to earth by chains of stone and came to Winterfell to free him. The chains are off you now, yet still you do not fly. Then you teach me. Bran still feared the three-eyed crow who haunted his dreams sometimes, pecking endlessly at the skin between his eyes and telling him to fly. You're a green seer? No, said Jojen. Only a boy who dreams. The green seers were more than that. They were wargs as well, as you are, and the greatest of them could wear the skins of any beast that flies or swims or crawls, and could look through the eyes of the weirwoods as well, see the truth that lies beneath the world. So is Brendan this truth? There's something about this truth that lies beneath the world that makes me want to take it literally, as if there's something underground that's for the truth to be discovered.
That's a good thought.
The gods give many gifts, Bran. My sister is a hunter. It is given to her to run swiftly and stand so still she seems to vanish. She has sharp ears, keen eyes, a steady hand with net and spear. She can breathe mud and fly through trees. I could not do these things, no more than you could. To me, the gods gave the green dreams, and to you, you could be more than me, Bran. You are the winged wolf, and there is no saying how far and high you might fly if you had someone to teach you. How can I help you master a gift I do not understand? We remember the first men in the neck, and the children of the forest who were their friends. So much is forgotten, and so much we never knew. Mira took Bran by the hand. If we stay here, troubling no one, you'll be safe until the war ends. You will not learn, though, except what my brother can teach you. You've heard what he says. If we leave this place to seek refuge at Last Heart beyond the wall, we risk being taken. You are only a boy, I know, but you are our prince as well, our lord's son and our king's true heir. We have sworn you our faith by earth and water, bronze and iron, ice and fire. The risk is yours, Bran, as is the gift. The choice should be yours too, I think. We are your servants to command, she grinned. At least in this. You mean? Bran said. You'll do what I say, truly? Truly, my prince, the girl replied. So consider well. Bran tried to think it through, the way his father might have. The Great John's uncles, both their horsebane and Morse Crowfoot, were fierce men, but he thought they would be loyal. And the Karstarks, them too. Carhold was a strong castle, father always said. We would be safe with the Umbers of the Karstarks. Or they could go south to Fat Lord Manderley. In Winterfell, he'd laughed a lot and never seemed to look at Bran with so much pity as the other lords. Castle Curwen was closer than White Harbor. Maester Lewin had said that Clay Curwen was dead. The Umbers and the Karstarks and the Manderleys may all be dead as well, he realized, as he would be if he was caught by the Iron Men or the Bastard of Bolton. If they stayed here, hidden down beneath Tumbledown Tower, no one would find them. He would stay alive and crippled. Bran realized he was crying. Stupid baby, he thought at himself. No matter where he went, to Carhold or White Harbor or Greywater Watch, he'd be a cripple when he got there. He balled his hands into fists. I want to fly, he told them. Please, take me to the Crow. Up next, Storm 10, Davos 2. I have come to take you to the dungeon. Let's get to it.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Last episode of Girls Gone Canon, they mentioned that Thunderclap had a theory. So before we get to that, let me read a couple quotes. Let's read first. Let's read what Cold Hands says when asked, "Why are your hands black?" The ranger studied his hands as if he had never noticed them before. Once the heart has ceased to beat, a man's blood runs down into his extremities, where it thickens and congeals. His voice rattled in his throat, as thin and gaunt as he was. His hands and feet swell up and turn as black as pudding. The rest of him becomes as white as milk. So that sounds like somebody who's studied biology. Let's search of Ice and Fire for the name Wyllis. Wyllis. A most fascinating account of Hardhome can be found in Maester Wyllis's Hardhome, an account of 3 years spent beyond the wall among savages, raiders, and woods witches. Wyllis journeyed to Hardhome on a Pentoshi trader and established himself there as a healer and counselor so that he might write of their customs. He was given the protection of Gorm the Wolf, a chieftain who shared control of Hardhome with 3 other chiefs. When Gorm was murdered in a drunken brawl, however, Wyllis found himself in mortal danger and made his way back to Old Town. There he set down his account, only to vanish the year after the illuminations were done. It was said in the Citadel that he was last seen at the docks, looking for a ship that would take him to Eastwatch by the Sea. So we've got a maester who disappeared long ago. Yep, we've got a maester who disappeared long ago. And we've got Cold Hands, who sure sounds like he's a maester. And then you've got how Sam is always tying the obsidian to the maesters, right? The maesters call it obsidian, right? And so I kind of like it.
I like it too.
So anyway, that was Thunderclap, and Girls Gone Canon had that in their last episode. They said the Thunderclap had suggested it to them.
That's extremely. I love it. I mean, none
Yeah,
of
I
the
do
other
too.
names that have been thrown out there for who Cold Hands is. Um, yeah,
Yep, yep. That's so like he studied the wildlings. He probably studied the languages. One of the problems with some of these is that they have to be able to speak both the common tongue of Westeros and the old tongue, um, right? But mostly it's like, yeah, he's acting like a biology professor when he's
yeah,
asked about being cold hands, basically, right? I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, nothing else fits that. So
No,
anyway, I really like it.
yeah. I like it a lot too.
All right. I think that's it for today, unless you got anything else.
No, that's it. Oh, I know it's late, but big shout out to Lizzie. Happy name day.
Oh, happy name day, Lizzie.
I think it was what, Monday? I can't remember.
Hmm.
I've been off my game.
Actually, it's Mia's 5 month anniversary.
Say again?
The puppy.
Oh,
She's 5 months today.
well, get her a cake.
She's not handy or I'd grab her and put her on camera again. But
No, yesterday.
yesterday, yesterday was a big 4-0. I didn't mind turning 40. 50 was a little rough, but 40 wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, Lady Thistle always reminds us that us older guys are the only ones that mention our age. So, but yeah, 40 was fine. 50 sucked.
Especially since I was going blind at the time. Anyway,
All right.
that all worked out all right though. Eventually.
Oh, this is our actual second chapter. Davos
Oh
2.
yeah. Yeah.
All of them have
Yep.
been
Correct.
the first chapter of each person. So this ought to be
Yep.
good.
Yep.
Okay, I'm still running tired, not sleeping good. So
Yeah.
it's I wake up like 3, 4 times a night, covered in sweat, like somebody chasing me in my sleep.
Since you've been sick or
Well, I mean, that I had that for the last couple of weeks, and then not feeling good on top of it. It took all the energy I had. So, but
points at me or you're always bringing up how old I am.
you hush, Lisa.
That's a lie. Jeff constantly reminds me how old I am.
Hey, bud. All right. But thank y'all for joining us on Hump Day. Friday, same bat time, same bat channel for Davos 2.
Sounds good.
Everybody have a good rest of the week, and we will see you all on Friday. So thank you. Have a
Sounds
good day.
good.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Have a good one.